Relatively recently, a virtual researcher under the nickname Street Cap 1, who is fond of space exploration, was looking through the next photos from NASA and found a fresh and very strange image, which was obtained from the SOHO Solar Observatory. And this image does raise a lot of questions. In the picture we can see a white object, from which an incomprehensible thin trace stretches to the sun. Before I start, I want to tell you about my new channel Visioner Interesting, in which I talk about interesting facts and events. I put the link to the channel in the video description, as well as in the top right corner. So, let's continue. Observers have suggested that the object either flew out from the surface of the sun and thus left a trail behind it, or is hovering near the star and sucking solar energy. By the way, the observatory SOHO, which belongs to NASA, works in space for 20 years. On this day, the observatory has taken several consecutive pictures that show the sun rotating around its axis. And the unidentified object can be seen only in one of these images. On the one hand, we can conclude that the phenomenon was quite fleeting, but on the other hand, we cannot exclude that this strange object returned with the sun on its axis and disappeared behind the star. In addition, such refueling can be very fast, and after the first picture the ship could just fly away at a huge speed. You will say that the white object could be a bright star caught in the frame, but then how to explain this plume and how it was formed, and why it is drawn to this object? In fact, all sorts of strange objects on the surface of the sun appear with enviable regularity. For example, there was once a very popular image on the web in which solar researchers noticed an angel at the very surface of the star. It is clear that the assumption that something supernatural was photographed does not stand up to criticism. This is just an emission of plasma into outer space, and, if you wish, you can find an angel, a demon, or a chupacabra in NASA's pictures. It's like guessing at the shape of objects in the clouds in the sky. But there have been far more intriguing pictures. NASA's other solar observatory, SOHO, which also monitors solar surface processes and transmits the resulting photographs to Earth, recorded an equally strange object near the very surface of the star. On this object, NASA at one point even decided to give an explanation. This image, which was published in 2012, shows that a certain dark object of enormous size was attached to the sun. According to researchers' estimates, it was at least as big as our Earth. Note that the object is perfectly round, and it looks as if it has extended a thick hose toward the sun and is pumping out something from the surface. And then it pulls away from the sun and disappears. Ufologists immediately stated that this video proves the existence of alien activity in the solar system. They believe that aliens use the sun as a refueling station for their ships. Naturally, the main argument against the version was the incredible size of the object, but if you take into account how prohibitive the temperatures and radiation near the sun, we can assume that any object in the vicinity of the star would need a very powerful protective field, and that allegedly it is the circumference of this field and can be seen on the video. And the UFO itself is much smaller and simply cannot be seen from this distance. NASA refrained from commenting for quite a long time, as if they could not believe what the observatory had captured on video. It took them some time to explain what they saw, more or less intelligibly. But the video resonated too much for them to just keep quiet, as Alex Young, an astrophysicist and solar specialist at NASA, reported. A protuberance was caught in the frame. Protuberances are these giant streams of red-hot gas, cold enough compared to the surface temperature of the sun, that rise above the surface and are held up by the magnetic field. But usually protuberances look much brighter and obviously do not have such a perfect spherical shape. Look at this unfortunate angel at least, and where did such a strange outgrowth coming toward the sun come from? As might be expected, NASA specialists have stated that in their opinion, the dark filmed object looks from the fact that the protuberance is just colder than its surroundings, and such an unusual shape of the protuberance, that it looks like a dark disk, is in fact the end of the protuberance, which formed in a tunnel of visible form. Alexei Ank also said that protuberances can take the most bizarre forms, stretch for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, and reach a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers, and they can also break away from the surface of the sun. At the same time, the scientist admits that the process of the formation of protuberances of this or that kind is poorly understood. It is clear that this explanation did not please everyone. In fact, it is very rare for NASA to give such a detailed comment on such a matter. Usually NASA gives little or no comment, pretending that the issues are too insignificant to comment on. Or they refer to platitudes like the play of light and shadow. An interesting version was also put forward by Sergei Bogachev of the X-ray Solar Astronomy Laboratory of the Lebedev Physical Institute. In his opinion, a so-called coronal, a cavern or magnetic tornado vortex, which stretches along the surface of the sun and throws matter outwards, was caught in the frame. But back to the first video. Most ufologists do not rule out the possibility that alien technology may allow aliens to use the sun as a kind of refueling station for their ships. They note the color of the object, which is very different from that of the sun. The visible metal resistant to ultra-high temperatures, which could theoretically be used to make an alien ship, is just this bright white color. Scientists also note that the sun is continuously decreasing in diameter by about 12 kilometers per year, and some ufologists believe that alien ships that can siphon off the sun's energy play a role in this. Moreover, they think that such recharges threaten to have the saddest consequences for the sun, up to and including complete extinction. There are alternative views. Some ufologists suggest that the filmed object is some unknown to science phenomenon, which is an ejection of dense solar matter, which left behind a plasma trail. But no such phenomena have been recorded before or after this video. Researchers are more skeptical and believe that the object appeared in the photo due to poor quality equipment. We often write off unusual objects that appear in their photos to extraneous noise and interference of refraction on the lens, eye, or blurring of the camera. But you have to agree that it's hard to explain this shot with anything like that. Another thing is that there is plenty of evidence that when NASA deliberately erases all the photos and videos they don't like, and all the strange photos that reach the public have gotten to amateurs through the oversight of NASA's cleanup team. For example, several NASA employees told the media that their superiors are concealing evidence of the existence of aliens in various ways, eliminating the materials and facts that confirm the encounters of Earthlings with UFOs. For example, according to mechanical engineer Dr. Bergman, NASA purposely obscures images from the moon that show unusual objects. He once noticed such an alien element in the picture, to which one of his colleagues remarked that most likely the people in charge had forgotten to darken it. Another testimony was obtained by journalists from Dr. Allery, a Mars scientist who was present at the creation of the famous picture of the face on Mars. He said that the photo was edited because its creators wanted the unusual object in the picture to resemble a natural phenomenon. Another former employee of NASA, Adinac and Raz, told reporters that the astronauts received strict orders from the leadership not to talk about their meetings with aliens in space. At the same time, Hare noted that such encounters happen regularly. The disappearance of nearly 40 clips of Apollo footage, recounted by Bob Dean, a retired NATO sergeant major, is a very telling story. The footage, which the military says was purposely erased, captured the Apollo flight, the moon landing, and the movement of astronauts on the lunar surface. Most likely, says Dean, this footage was considered socially and politically unacceptable, and there have been dozens of such cases. What is depicted in the image, fueling a UFO, is not yet known for certain. NASA still has no official comment, and we can only speculate about the mysterious phenomenon. What is it? A spaceship, a natural phenomenon, or an imperfection of the equipment? Write in a comment to the video what you think about it, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. There are many more interesting things to come.